I have a focus.
Okay.
Okay.
You were talking earlier about life has its ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you, in the down times, in the dark times, in the times of extreme conflict or doubt or whatever life crisis it was, what became for you the absolutes and how and why? What is your anchor? And how did you get there? And what did you let fall away?
I think everyone has disappointments in life, and I had several deep disappointments in life, and I did not know how to deal with them at all, except that they were losses. But during that time, what was to me not an anchor, but a saving occupation, a preoccupation, was to say, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this myself, but I have immediate callings that I have to that I have to address, that I have to live with, that I have to fulfill. And I remember a little book by Martin Marty, Being Good and Doing Good, and he talked about circles of responsibility that we have to ourselves, to our physical health,
Okay.
to our immediate family, our wife or our children or grandchildren. We have adoptive families, so those are all there. And then our vocation. And there you have a daily routine and a weekly routine. And when the disappointments were there, like losses, for some people it's a physical loss. One of my best friends, a Jewish man, has one arm. And yet he lives victoriously, he lives cheerfully. I learned from his behavior you can live with losses. It's not the last word. It's not the last word. And Bill Backus wrote a book about how you deal with depression. People are depressed. I was not depressed, but you deal with depression by saying whatever the loss is, that's not the definition of life is not by that loss. There's another definition. And then in conversing with certain people who were like a spiritual companion to me, it was in laying out the losses bluntly and directly, and then praying together on the telephone. That was, I think, the pointing of moving from the nadir on, and basically the Psalms are so good because, like nothing else, they take you from praising God to complaining and lamenting and finding the answers are not there, and then a new answer is around the corner, and then you praise in spite of the loss. And I would say that's how, without being specific about losses, that's not so important as saying that you in fact become stronger with the losses. One verse that was given to me a number of times was, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Now, whose grace is it that's sufficient? And what is, first of all, sufficient? It's grace, and it's the Lord's grace, and it's sufficient for you. In other words, you're no exception. You need it, and it is there for you. And my strength is made perfect in weakness. So there's the weakness is that you are at the nadir of your life, and that's where I was in those losses. And the losses are still there, but it's not the end of life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that wisdom.
So that's what I
Yeah.
think was really profoundly helpful to
Yeah.
me.
Thank you.
And it was a source for acknowledging that other people go through desert times and real downers. And often you just need someone who is going to listen
Yeah.
and not give advice.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Any last thoughts, or is there anything that you wish that you had been asked that didn't get asked?
Oh my! No, you gave us lots of wonderful questions, and I have. First of all, I want to thank you. I think it's a wonderful idea to interview, emeriti faculty. It's fun. I would say, I think Ira Byock has written a book, I think, called The 5 Wishes. I can only think of 4 of them.
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah.
that's one thing I would love to see. Say, number 1, thank you. I have a huge, array of things I'm thankful for, and I want to say it to you. I want to say it to Concordia. I want to say it to students and friends. I could talk for a long time about all the people to whom I'm indebted and want to thank them. The second thing is when you look, some people have no regrets at all. I have one regret I can be public about. My greatest regret in life is that I didn't get to Israel much sooner. It's one of the most wonderful experience of 2 months in Israel right after the first Gulf War. Then there are other regrets that are not to be spoken of. But I'm saying that in so many cases, I want to say to people, please forgive me where I hurt you, let you down, disappointed you, failed you. And I would say, and if you think there's any way that you hurt me, I want to say to those people, I forgive you with great joy. And the last thing is, to many people, I'm not going to see again. I want to say something that, unfortunately, you often don't say to each other before life is over and you have the opportunity, and that is to say, I love you. That's really important. And then as far as words of advice, my Jewish friend said to his sons, and they're all very successful, about how do you succeed in life? Find out what you really want to do. Mm. Find your passion and get somebody to pay you for it. I think that's wonderful. And the other final word are 2 Latin words.
Why does this not surprise me that there's that final word and another final word? Go.
This has to come right from Augustine. After his great sin of stealing a pear, he heard a voice that said, "Tolle et lege," take and read. And you know what that read referred to. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people aren't reading Scripture anymore, but they've got to take and read it. It is a treasure and a wellspring of life.
Yeah, thank you. We didn't even talk about getting to teach the Psalms together. We could have a whole other conversation about that. Thank you so much. Thank you for your words and your thoughts.
Thank you.
And your heart.
Thank you for inviting all of us, inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
We'll talk about Psalms another time.
Okay, it's a deal.
I'm just finishing a 15-week session, 15, 16